Since last week, WION has been bringing you a series of reports about Hamid Nehal Ansari, the Indian citizen trapped inside Pakistan's Mardan Central Jail despite having served his sentence. In this next part of the series, WION's Pakistan Bureau Chief Taha Siddiqui travels to Kohat, a city in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province of Pakistan. WION's crew has managed to locate the hotel from where Hamid Nehal Ansari was picked up by Pakistani authorities in 2012. Ansari had gone missing after he crossed over to Pakistan from Afghanistan. Pakistani authorities only disclosed Ansari's arrest in 2016 when they claimed that he had been convicted of espionage and sentenced to a 3-year jail term. Here is what WION's Pakistan Bureau Chief Taha Siddiqui has sent us.
Well, after searching for the hotel where Hamid Ansari was staying, I finally found it in Kohat. I'm standing right in front of it. Behind me, that is the particular hotel where Hamid Ansari stayed for a few days before he was abducted, apparently by the police and some agencies in Pakistan. From what we understand, in 2012, this is the hotel where he was invited to by the girl and his friends, and this is where he was staying before his abduction. I went inside to talk to the management or the manager of the hotel here. He refused to talk on camera and also kicked us out of the hotel, and he definitely did look a little scared about talking on camera. He would not answer my questions straight away. I asked him whether he was here in 2012. He said his father used to be managing the hotel at that time. The hotel dates back to almost 50 years, and from the looks of it, everybody gave me, it seemed like as if they were concealing information and not giving me information. They told me that I should go to the police and ask my questions from there and not harass them here. And after that, the only choice I had was to come outside and show you this hotel. So this is where basically in 2012 where Hamid Ansari was abducted from. These are exclusive visuals of this particular hotel, never seen before. And behind me, this hotel, it's a very small hotel. This area where I'm standing right now, Kohat, is one of the main busy areas where most of the transport from inside and outside the city comes in. This is Taha Siddiqui for WION from Kohat city.
Taha Siddiqui, WION's Pakistan Bureau Chief, joins us live from Peshawar to give us the very latest. Taha, you've been to Kohat and you've also been to the hotel from where Hamid Nehal Ansari was picked up by the Pakistani agencies. Tell us a little about your interactions there. Also, we saw a bit in your report, but tell us more about what these people are saying off camera.
Well, basically, first of all, let me explain to you what kind of a place Kohat is.
Right.
This is the city where I went there. Basically, it is a very heavily military sort of a garrison city. A lot of military presence all over the place. So it was really hard to sort of navigate in the city. Also, other than that, from what we understand, that we went to I went to the hotel. Inside the hotel, I spoke to the person there. One of the persons who was the manager there, he said that his father used to be here managing the hotel when in 2012. When I started asking him, inquiring him about particularly about Hamid Ansari, I gave him references. I said that this issue has been covered well in the media, and he should know about it because the individual in question was picked up from his hotel. He kind of started asking me questions in response, saying that why are you inquiring this? I showed him my credentials. I said I'm a journalist and I'm here to find out more about this particular case. But despite that, he would not give me any information. Then one of his friends who was standing there said that why don't you go to the police? And I said I've already spoken to the police and I've already talked to them, and they have the report that they've submitted. They say that this was the particular hotel where he was picked up from. But despite that, he showed his complete ignorance, and then he was a little bit apprehensive also, and he said that I do not like these questions, and I don't want to answer these questions, and you should leave my premises, and this is my personal premises. And so eventually we had to leave, and then what I did was that I went outside and then to show our audience where Hamid Ansari was, we recorded that particular segment that you saw earlier.
Right. And also, Taha, we have seen the kind of attitude the Pakistani government has shown towards this entire case. Do you also reckon that there is a sense of some kind of a cover-up as far as this entire case is concerned? Do you feel that the Pakistani government or its agencies could have actually asked these hotel owners and anybody who could provide any information on Hamid Nehal Ansari to just keep quiet for the time being?
Definitely, and it's because of the fact that Hamid Ansari was abducted in 2012, and now his arrest has been shown in the court papers, and his conviction has been shown in 2015. So for 3 years he was missing, and nobody knew where he was. Now his lawyer got this particular memo from the police being sent to other sort of home ministries and other authorities. In that memo, it is mentioned that he was picked up in 2012. So now this memo was leaked out to the lawyer somehow through his sources, which he shared with me also. So definitely, given that there is a discrepancy in the information that the authorities have submitted to the court and from what really happened, and there are 3 years of his life that he was missing. He was perhaps in the custody of agencies in the country or different authorities in the country. So given all of that, definitely it becomes a very sensitive case, and the hotel management, from what I felt talking to them, they did not want to divulge into this information or reveal the information, perhaps not just because they were intimidated or they were pressured into not releasing this information, but given the fact that it involves the military, it involves spies, allegation of spying on Hamid Ansari later on, which he's convicted for, and then given the atmosphere in Pakistan, people usually do not talk about such issues openly, and because of which I felt that he was also being apprehensive and he was not revealing much. And definitely the authorities do not want this information and this discrepancy to be made public, because it will cause them problem, and perhaps it will ease the sort of discomforts and the problems that Hamid Ansari has.
Indeed. I would request you to stay on, Taha. Also joining me live from the newsroom is WION's senior correspondent Ramesh Ramachandran. Ramesh, what is the sense we are getting from India's Ministry of External Affairs? Is the Indian government actively pursuing this case?
Well, Raghavin, before that, just want to remind our viewers that WION is the only media channel to be covering this story, saturated coverage from both India and Pakistan. Now, that said, talking about the Indian Foreign Ministry, Raghavin, we are given to understand that India is seized of the matter. It's been many, many months now since he's been was last seen here by his family, and since then we've seen back and forth happening between New Delhi and Islamabad at multiple levels, at the level of the government as well as at the High Commission level. And Indian government sources are telling WION that they are seized of the matter and that they can be expected to inform the media in a day or two about the factual situation insofar as Hamid Nehal Ansari is concerned. But that said, India has also always been saying that there are multiple cases of Indian nationals languishing in Pakistani jails, including the case of Kulbhushan Yadav. And the most glaring omission in all of this, Raghavendra, is that India's repeated requests for a consular access to both Kulbhushan Yadav and Hamid Nehal Ansari have gone completely unheeded by the authorities in Pakistan. Consular access is a basic prerequisite or a minimum that any country does to the other countries in question, so as the nationality of the national concern is established and that follow-up action can be taken. But in both these cases, especially in the case of Hamid Nehal Ansari, consular access has been consistently denied to India, and some in India are denying or disputing this allegation or claim that Hamid Nehal Ansari could have been a spy, could have been on a secret mission. But many people say that he was young, he was brash, and this could have been a love affair gone bad, and that he was more foolish than bold.
Right. Thank you so much, Ramesh, for joining us with those updates and perspective. Going back to Taha. Taha, what is the sense in Pakistan about this entire case? I mean, obviously, you've been talking to a lot of people in the government circles, in Pakistan's defense establishment, the army. What are you picking up? What is the general sense about this entire case?
Well, the official version, of course, is the fact that people still believe that he was perhaps spying, and he was perhaps as according to the military courts, he has been accused of and convicted for that particular espionage. But at the same time, there are some people who have been asking this very particular question, that if in case he was convicted for espionage, we have never seen a precedence where only 3 years of sentencing has been given. So that is sort of shows that even perhaps the military courts itself were not convinced enough that his crime was that big, or whether or not he did a crime. But because they had already arrested him, they had already detained him for 3 years, so they had to go ahead with sort of like the conviction also. At the same time, from what we understand, another aspect of it is that the courts say, the police say that basically, when we talk to the police here, when we talk to the officials here, they also feel that he did perhaps come in because he was foolish enough in some ways, perhaps to come in without proper documentation into Pakistan. And then, he was coming after a girl who had invited him, and then the girl's family was one perhaps that was influential enough to have had, to have told the authorities that he might be a spy, or he is an Indian national without any proper documents, and because of which he got into trouble. As far as now, the lawyer is concerned, he's filed a petition for remission, for waiving off some time off from his prison sentence of 3 years, and he might the remission he's not getting right now because the jail authorities say that he was involved in anti-state activities. The lawyer says he can prove that he was not involved in anti-state activities. The real problem here is that because he was convicted in a military court, there has been no transparency. Not much of the details have come forward as to what evidences were provided for him being involved in anti-state activities. We just the press here, the lawyers, and everyone, all the authorities, they just got a statement from the military saying that he has been convicted for espionage, and that's about it. Now, this particular petition that is going to be heard on November 1st has been filed by the lawyer to find out more information, and then we can perhaps see how what are the loopholes and the problems with the case, and perhaps the lawyer saying that he will be arguing about that, and from a humanitarian ground may be able to get him relief.
Absolutely, Taha, and you mentioned the fact that there has not been any transparency since the trial was held in a military court. Also the fact that Pakistan has refused to grant consular access to the Indian authorities. Striking similarities with the Kulbhushan Jadhav case here. Is there any hope, if at all, of Indian authorities managing to get consular access even now?
From what I understand, when I speak to the Foreign Office officials here, they keep citing this particular agreement of 2008 with the Indian government, saying that when it comes to espionage and when it comes to spies, and because Hamid Ansari is being accused of and convicted of espionage, he will not enjoy the regular sort of consular access. And that is similarly what the case with Kulbhushan is also, because of the fact that they accuse him of spying and being a raw agent. He is not being provided consular access. But the flip side of this is also because that if they are provided consular access, if they are provided direct access to Indian embassy officials here or Indian legal counsel here, things might, the reality might come out of what happened with Hamid Ansari, or what happened with Kulbhushan, or all of these people that they do not provide consular access. So the consular access is not provided under the pretext of this particular agreement, but the real reason behind it is also because it can bring that kind of reality and the truth which has not made it to the surface as yet.
Right. And I would go one more time to my colleague Ramesh Ramachandran, who's joining us from the newsroom. Ramesh, consular access continues to be a question, that has no answers when it comes to cases like these. Now, be it Kulbhushan Jadhav's case or this case, India has repeatedly been seeking consular access, which has been denied multiple times. Now, what would be India's strategy? India, of course, can seek consular access once again, but what if that consular access doesn't come? How India proposes to proceed with this case?
Well, that's the big question confronting the Indian government, Raghavendra, how to proceed in both these cases, Kulbhushan Jadhav and Hamid Nehal Ansari, especially given Pakistan's intransigence on the issue of giving India consular access, to at least establish some kind of communication with both these Indian nationals who are languishing in Pakistani jails for many, many years now. But that said, I want to highlight the asymmetry here, Raghavendra.
Yep.
Here are two Indian nationals who are languishing in Pakistani jails for years on end. On the other hand, a mere tweet from a Pakistani national requesting help from India gets immediate response from the Indian Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj,
Absolutely.
who is a prolific tweeter, and we've seen her on many an occasion come to the rescue of Pakistani nationals who are seeking medical attention here in India. So there is clearly an asymmetry here, and India, and there's a mismatch in India's response to situations, and contrast that with Pakistan's response to such cases.
Absolutely, and thank you so much, Ramesh, for joining us with these inputs and updates. I would also like to thank our Pakistan Bureau Chief, Taha Siddiqui, who not only got us this report, but also all the related information and perspective. Thank you, Taha, for joining us.